All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people out there, just like you and just like me. There's a little housekeeping thing here for you and some awesome, rare music to go look for. The band is called Two Fires. It features Kevin Chalfant on lead vocals. You might remember Kevin from a band called The Storm and his work with 707. That's another band he was in. If you're a fan of Journey, look at the it looks like the Journey Boston motif here with the spaceships, I guess. Two fires, not just one, but two. This first album, absolutely amazing. Came out courtesy of Frontiers Music as they were trying to recapture the golden era of melodic rock with one of the great vocalists, unheralded vocalists of all time, Mr. Kevin Chalfant, who could have easily been in Journey, and I think he was palling around with the boys in, what was it, the late 90s or mid 90s. Prior to Steve Perry coming back, there was a short window where I think they were considering making Kevin the vocalist. And, you know, there's rumors out there that Perry caught wind of that and said, nope, if I can't have them, nobody is going to have them. And so he came back, and that's, just, I think that's my take on it more than anything. But in any event, Two Fires, really good stuff. Phil Collins is in rough shape, and I have done a couple of videos on this, but I never knew how many different things Phil Collins was dealing with. So for over a decade now, for over 10 years, Collins has been battling illnesses and going through significant health issues behind the scenes. He's being, wheeled into concerts, wheeled out of concerts. You've got to hope that he will stay seated during the concert. He doesn't have balance. There are a lot of things that Phil is dealing with. And I'm kind of under the impression now, and I know it's making money for people, and it's closure. I think this tour, the last Domino tour, it's closure for a lot of people. Like, okay, gonna go see Genesis. I mean, Genesis and Phil Collins. I mean, Genesis was such a great band. I mean, they still technically are, but Phil is really struggling out there, and it is painful to watch. Anyway, his daughter Lily posted a heartfelt birthday message for him not too long ago, making fans even more curious as to how he's doing. I guess it was kind of a cryptic message. Of course, Phil has been dealing with these issues for over a decade now. It started in 2009 when he injured the vertebrae in his upper neck. He got it during the performance, leaving him with crippling nerve damage. At that time, the band's website released a statement about how badly it had affected the drummer's hand function. Phil says, somehow during the last Genesis tour, I dislocated some vertebrae in my upper neck, and that affected my hands. After a successful operation on my neck, I'm not sure why it was deemed a successful operation. My hands still can't function normally. Maybe in a year or so it will change, but for now, it is impossible for me to play drums or piano. It was a difficult time for Phil. He says, I considered taking my own life. He says, I wouldn't blow my head off. I'd overdose or do something that didn't hurt. But I wouldn't do that to the children. I think maybe referring to his own kids. In his autobiography, Not Dead Yet, Phil opened up about his previous struggle with alcohol addiction. It started after his retirement and divorce from his third wife, Oriane Seavey. They were married for 9 years. At the time of the book's release, Collins was already sober for 3 years. The next year, he revealed that he is a type 2 diabetic and had been receiving treatment with a hyperbaric chamber following an infected diabetic abscess on his foot. He was also having to cancel 2 shows in 2017 following an accident in his hotel room. He had hit his head on a chair after slipping during the night. He had to get stitches for a deep cut close to his eye. Apparently, it was caused by the foot drop condition, which he acquired from back surgery. Since then, he's started using a cane and is now wearing orthopedic shoes. At the same time, Collins was also battling acute pancreatitis, or fast inflammation and swelling of the pancreas. Within months, you're drinking vodka from the fridge in the morning and falling over in front of the kids, you know. He says, it was something I lived through, and I was lucky to live through it and get through it. I was very close to dying. Against all odds, he still went on to complete his 2019 tour, Still Not Dead Yet Live. Indeed, he wasn't keeping the show running while sitting on a chair and holding onto his cane. I'm not really too sure about this thing about the vodka. He says, within months, you're drinking vodka from the fridge in the morning and falling over in front of the kids, you know, he said of his illness. So sounded like he was drowning his sorrows because of his illness. Determined to make his fans happy, Collins is still touring with his band in 2022. Of course, it was postponed in 2021 because of the thingdemic. I'm kind of physically challenged a bit, which is very frustrating because I love to be playing up there, the singer said of his condition during a BBC interview. He says, I can barely hold a drumstick in my hand, so there are certain physical things that get in the way, but it clearly didn't hold him back, especially since the tour means so much to him and the band. Wow. I think probably this will be putting it to bed for the last time, Collins said, meaning the last domino. They put a question mark at the end of that. But man, oh man, there are a lot of rock musicians that just retire, you know, because they're just tired of going out on the road, and their health might be pretty good, but they've done this for so long. See, Genesis took a lot of time away, you know, and then when they came back, this happens to Phil, and Phil's being very active on drums. And obviously that started, I hate to use this term, but it started a domino effect, and here we are. So in any event, I don't know, tough to watch. Genesis, though, they're still touring a lot for this year. A bunch of dates in March, which will eventually get to the UK, I believe 2 days from now. Both shows are sold out. Actually, 3 shows are sold out. And then later on this year, coming to North America in November for a bunch of gigs, going to Canada for a little while, and then New York and Detroit and Cleveland, Philadelphia, Madison Square Garden, 2 dates at MSG, and then a lot of dates, Columbus, Ohio, and Belmont Park, New York, and Pittsburgh, Boston, 2 dates at the TD Garden, and December 16th might be the last show for Genesis with Phil Collins. Just a great band, and again, a guy who was the 80s. You can make the case for Springsteen and Madonna and Prince and Michael Jackson and all of these big names from the 1980s. Nobody was bigger than Phil Collins. Sorry, nobody was bigger. And nobody, by the way, produced better music during that time frame, either with Genesis or as a solo artist. He's just Omni Phil. You know, he was just everywhere, and he was overexposed, and people got a little tired of it, you know, but in hindsight, you hit while the iron is hot, and Phil hit, and he never failed to create really good music, even in the 90s when, you know, his popularity started to wane a bit because of the music scene. He was still putting out really good, you know, good albums. So obviously we wish Phil the best, and maybe a miracle or two. Love to see him get behind a drum kit again, but his son Nick is doing a spectacular job on drums, and that probably for me is the high point of watching Genesis, just seeing the baton being, you know, tossed over to the son, who's just doing a great job up there. So In any event, folks, that's the video. Thanks for watching again. Just in case you missed the opening, Two Fires, great album. Go look for it. You'll probably have to pay like $50 for it. But if you're a collector, right, and you want to hear some music that will remind you of the melodic rock of the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, Two Fires with Kevin Chalfant, and totally that Journey vibe. It's there. You can feel it, you can hear it, and you'll love it. All right. See you soon.